Okay, guys. Assalamualaikum. A very good morning to everybody, and I hope everybody is doing well. So today we are going through our next lecture session, which is we are going to look at the business process re-engineering for property management 2. And based on the first slide, we can see that there are dynamic changes happening around us worldwide, and also we need to change the way we do things to get ahead, like what is happening in our country, what is happening around the world right now. So this kind of situation, this kind of conditions, they affect not only on our profession but other professions all over the world. People are losing their jobs, people are losing their income left and right. So whatever that we have, you must be thankful, and then we must try to adapt towards the changes that is happening currently surrounding us. Okay, so how to change for the better? eh? So for great improvements, they should be done to our current property management practice, and renewing the practice with the current knowledge, the trends and needs will give added value towards the property and organization. And we must also always to check our status. Okay, so in the sense, we are trying to find out the best ways, we are trying to find out the problems, we are trying to find out the weaknesses, so we can help to find out what is the best solution that we can try to improve, especially on the profession of property management. Okay, so traditional ways of managing property may no longer suit today's ever-changing world anymore. So based on this, before this we just manage property as it is, without any knowledge in property management, without any qualification, or even without any professional bodies governing the profession. But right now, of course, we are grateful to have the Valuer Appraiser, Estate Agent and Property Managers Act 1991, and we also have the board, the professional body that governs our profession. So the board also provided various standards of procedures, so that we can adopt, and even if you feel that we can do more, so we try to improve. So common processes in property management that can be improved, we have about 7 key areas, like the day-to-day operational workflow, the cleaning, the security, the maintenance, and number 2, management of property accounts, number 3, process of recovering the breakdowns, how we are going to reduce or even to prevent breakdowns from happening at all. So if a breakdown happen, it will not only cost a lot of money, but it will most importantly, our customer, or the residents of the property, they will be severely inconvenienced. Like if you have a high-rise property, if residents are living in the 10th floor, 11th floor, the elevator is not working, so they have to climb up and down all the way from this very high level of building. Okay, number 4 is process of handling complaints. So as a property manager, uh, our main job scope is to provide services to people. So when we provide services to people, people expect quality, like in our previous lecture. So when people expect quality, they expect that their complaints, or even their words is being heard by the management. And then the management have to take action on whatever it is that they are complaining. If they are complaining that the elevator is smelly, so you have to take measure, like you put in air freshener inside the elevator, or whatever kind of complaints. So if dealing with people, people have different needs, people have different wants. So their expectation might not be the same as our own expectation. So whatever that they're trying to say or do, so we must have a good procedure in handling them. Okay. And number 5 is periodic structural and equipment inspection, like I said before, like corrective maintenance, corrective, preventive, and others. Other than that is number 6, the investment link activities, how you are going to manage the funds, how you are going to manage, where you are going to invest the funds and others. And number 7 is the asset management strategy. The asset management strategy is how you are going to retain the market value of the property, or even help to increase the market value of the property. So this is related towards the asset management aspect. So challenges for improvement we can see. Number 1 is resistant, like residents being resistant toward the changes. Like before this, they have open space parking in the property without any designation towards a parcel owner or whatsoever. But unfortunately, every household they have 3 or 4 cars, and the parking spaces in the property has become insufficient. So people have to park very far away from the property. And you as a management, you see that this is a problem, and then you said, oh, we are going to assign every parcel only 1 or even 2 parking space. So people might resist towards that, especially the parcel owners or people living there who have 3 or 4 vehicles. This is always what is happening, especially in medium cost apartments or even the low cost apartments. Low cost apartments regulation by the Department of Housing, they state that low cost 3 parcel is 1 parking space, but unfortunately that is not always the case. Usually is 1 parcel have 3 vehicles. How can this kind of people become low cost if they have 3 or 4 vehicles? Okay. And number 2 is the tradition. Tradition sometimes involves with the belief of people, like they believe people should hang out their clothes in the common area. They don't want to purchase a dryer. But unfortunately, when people hang their clothes in the common area, it will become obstruction. It will become a safety and also security issue, as if there is an emergency, people cannot go through the common area as fast as they should be, because there is obstruction on the clothes being hang outside. So this kind of tradition, even though it's been happening for a long time, so for good changes to happen, you must try to improve on the types of tradition or culture. For good improvement, we must try to reduce them. Okay. Number 3, the time requirement. Number 4, the cost. I think one of the most important aspect for improvement is, of course, the cost. We we uh, we know about the rising cost for spare parts, for materials. So as the management, we must do our part in helping to trying to reduce the cost, whether purchasing good quality materials, but trying to get them from a supplier that can offer the best prices. This is because from the cost savings we can diversify the funds that have been collected into other areas. Like we can conduct more regular repainting of the property. We can invest in the property stocks and others. So reducing cost is a vital aspect. Of course, as an organization, as a property management organization also, we are in the business of making profit. So with the reducing of the cost, we can also increase the profit margin that we can get. Okay. The next one is skepticism, meaning people having doubt in you, and then this is more towards the ability for you to manage, for you to lead, to show the residents, to show the tenant that you are a very good manager, that you can do your job, and then you can provide very good quality property management services. And right now, the last one is regarding the job losses. Of course, with what is happening in our country right now, uh, is an unavoidable situation. Because people are losing income, and then with them losing income, they don't have the ability to pay the service charge or whatsoever. And then of course, when we don't get the funding, we cannot pay. We cannot pay for the salary and everything, and sometimes we have to work with the skeletal crew only. Meaning before this we have about 20 staff in the property, but we have to reduce to 10 working staff only, just to get the essential services being carried out. So this kind of situation is something that we try to avoid, but unfortunately, due to financial problems, so sometimes we will encounter this kind of situation. So improvement in relation towards the property management, like I said, we already gone through this one. How we are going to improve? Like on the part of the management, we have to look at the strategic management, we have to look on the quality management. For strategic management, you conduct aspects on the macro aspect. You control and evaluate, you monitor the feedback that you get from the tenants, the strategic alternatives. For quality management, you try to always conduct continuous improvement and the business process improvement. That's why researchers is also needed, because we just don't want to be stuck in just one particular or traditional way to manage property. We need to find out new ways. We need to find new ways to reduce the cost, the management, to improve the management, to improve the efficiency of the staffs working and others. Okay. For checking the current status, you need to look at the benchmarking process. Usually in our profession, the benchmarking is we set out a key performance indicator, KPI, in the early years, and then at the end of the year we look whether we have achieved this kind of KPI or not. Even for the organization, they must have KPI. For all the individual staff, they must also have the KPI. Okay. So benchmarking, like we have gone through this. So the reasons for benchmarking is for you to identify, to understand and implement the best in class practices, have the commitment to change and to encourage constant improvement. So having this kind of benchmarking, you look at the KPI, you look at other competitors, other organizations, and you compare with them, and then we try to find out what we can improve on our own part, because you cannot improve the other organizations condition or part, but we can improve on our own. So types of benchmarking, like I said before, is a competitive benchmarking, functional benchmarking, generic benchmarking, or even industry benchmarking. So all of this kind of benchmarking process, we have to look whether it's suitable to be implemented in our profession or not. So for industry benchmarking, maybe is a very big industry, pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industries offering up their medicine, how they are going to reduce the cost, how they are going to reduce the price, whether their product is really beneficial towards the buyer or not, whether their product is effective or not. So that one is more towards the very big industries. So might be for our property management organization, we look at more towards competitive and also functional benchmarking. So this is some of the processes that you can find out. You need to prepare, you need to execute the plan, and also have the post execution. So post execution is important for us to find out what is the result, how you are going to update the benchmarking process, what is the key milestone that we have achieved, and in the next planning process, what we are going to put in the next benchmarking. Okay. So for business process reengineering, we look at some of the definition, like Hammer and Campy 1993 define BPR as the fundamental rethinking and radical redesign of business process to achieve dramatic improvements in critical temporary measures of performance, like in the variable of cost, quality, services, and also speed. So business process engineering is basically like the process to improve this kind of things. But Hammer and Campy, their state is more towards the cost, quality, service, and also speed. By Davenport, another well-known BPR theorist, he said that the variable is more towards the technological aspect, the human aspect, and also the dimension of the organization. So try to uh, try to digest the definitions of re-engineering. Okay. Other than that, the value matrix in BPR, the key items that we want to conduct in BPR is for us to improve the product quality. If you are offering a product, if you are offering a services, of course we want to improve the services. We want to reduce the cost, and we want also to reduce the cycle time. Cycle time for like you conduct the maintenance, the services. We want to get as efficient as possible. We want to get as the work done as quickly as possible with the highest standard. Okay, so all of these are the theories that we can relate towards the property management process. Profession. Property management profession. So some of the differences between business process improvement and business process re-engineering. So for the old system, we conduct some of the radical changes, because radical changes is if it's a very good changes, then even though it is up against the tradition, even though it is up against the culture, but it's very beneficial, then we can try to adopt into the new system. The old system, they might not have the technological changes, the modern IT gadgets and everything, but through our changes, we incorporate them. We use property management softwares, we use accounting softwares, we use human resource softwares to help improve our management process of a property. Okay, so you can read through the differences also from the traditional one, the business quality improvement, and the business re-engineering. you can see on the risk, even though the business quality improvement have low risk and business re-engineering is high, the changes is that it will become more towards bigger improvement. Like you can see here is about tenfold improvement as compared to only 10 to 50% improvements of the organization by the traditional system. Okay, so this is some of the BPR implementation process. For you, number one is to develop the vision objective, understanding existing process, identify the process for redesign, identify the change levers, implement the new process, make new process operational, evaluate the new process, and then lastly is the ongoing continuous improvement. From there also, we don't stop at the 8th stage, but we go through the next stage, which is back to the first stage, developing the vision and objective. From this stage, maybe you don't develop the new vision and objectives anymore, but you make some changes. Okay. Using the plan, assess, analyze, redesign, and executing process also is relevant towards BPR, business process engineering. For BPR and property management, like we have gone through before, you need to identify, and you need to design, you need to implement, and then you need to assess. So this is quite simplified BPR life cycle. Okay. So key steps in the BPR, like we gone through, define the purpose, assessment, identify the requirement, define the scope of the project, redesign the business process, implement the redesign process, and also to monitor the successfulness or even the failure of the redesign. Okay. So we go and look at the benefits of BPR. Through business process engineering, it helps to reduce the overall time required to complete the task. Number two is to reducing the number of tasks that needed to be completed and save on the cost. I think this is one of the most important aspect. In any organization or any services, we try to reduce cost because financial or even monetary conditions is a very sensitive issue. People uh, uh, people need to reduce cost. People need to reduce consumption of items. Because living in the world currently, because of inflation and others, the prices of goods are coming up and everything. So we must be careful. Okay. Number three is to improve the services rendered to the customers, and lastly is for us, of course, to improve the quality and the consistency of the overall work process. All right. So in conclusion, there's a quotation by Einstein. Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use when we create them. Meaning the same thinking that Einstein said, we think about this problem, but we use the same thinking of this problem how this problem start in the first place. Like in the property management profession, like I give a case study on the swimming pool. The swimming pool have a problem of dried leaves coming into the swimming pool and blocking into the pumps. But we didn't think about the first item, which is the water pumps. The water pump itself is not very efficient in cleaning out the dried leaves. We think that, oh, we have already a water pump, and then we going to clean the dirt and the leaves manually. But that way is not really sustainable. What the management can do in the first place is that they research the water pump first, and then they find out, oh, this water pump can filtrate the dirt, the leaves and everything, so we don't have to fork out cost in the future in employing people to clean out the swimming pool. So that kind of thinking we must try to reduce, because in the first place when we conduct our management, we must think 5 to 10 years time ahead, rather than just completing the or even solving the problem at that moment only. So that is essentially what is business process re-engineering is all about. It's a very radical change, but this kind of radical changes is necessary for us to improve in the future. Okay, so for the conclusion, thinking outside the box is difficult for some people, and you have to keep trying. You have to convince people that this way of thinking outside the box is going to work, is going to reduce cost, is going to reduce resources, and is going to improve quality. Okay, so I think that's all about our lecture for this week. So if you have any questions, you can personally message me through the WhatsApp or even Telegram app, or even you can post. You can post the questions in the YouTube link or in my Padlet. So from there you can also see the URL link for this video for any reference. Okay, so I end today's lecture with the saying that I hope everybody is doing well and everybody is at home safe, and I wish you all the best. Okay, so assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.